All right, today's wow involves the most famous wolf in the world. Now, the thing about the most famous wolf in the world, it doesn't have a name, it has a number and a letter about this wolf. And it's an amazing story. Follow it. There's a couple documentaries online that you can watch about this she-wolf, but she ends up becoming an alpha of the largest pack in Yellowstone. Yellowstone has most of the wolf population in the United States lives there. There's 10 major packs in Yellowstone, and they each are very territorial. If you've ever watched anything about them, I think there was a movie called In the Gray or something like that, The Gray, with Liam Neeson in it. A plane crashed out in the middle of, and they have to fight against a wolf pack. And you learn a little bit about wolves there. It's a really cool movie. But the packs are in very territorial areas. So her life is a constant struggle, and she becomes the proverbial lone wolf. Now, some of you have heard that term before, and it usually is to personify somebody that kind of goes along in their life on their own and has a lot of struggles. She grows up in a pack, and her father is the alpha, and her father dies when she's about 2 years old. So the pack struggles mightily, and she ends up trying to find a mate and is unsuccessful because she doesn't want to mate with any of her siblings. Wolves are very, they're very kind of peopleless, like we are. Of course, it's happened in some weird occasions where people will marry their cousin or something like that, but distant cousins if you live in Tennessee or something. But don't say Kentucky because my mom's from there. But she leaves the pack and becomes a lone wolf, and she does this during the winter, and they actually track her, and she gets on the brink of starvation. She travels hundreds of miles. Food is very scarce at that time. She has also the difficulty of going into other packs' territories, and several times she escapes being attacked by other wolf packs. Eventually, she finds a male to mate with, and she has some wolf pups. And from her experience, she becomes the alpha of the pack. It's called the Lamar Canyon Pack, and this pack ends up becoming the largest wolf pack in the entire Yellowstone National Park area. Most packs are usually get up to about 8 to 10 in it. Her pack had 17 in it, and that's the largest that they've ever come across at that point. So when I read about this story, and again, this is another thing, I don't know why I was looking at this, but it just happened to catch my attention because she was actually killed a few years ago by a hunter, and there was this public outcry. So I started reading about her life, and I wanted to know why she was such a great pack leader, why her pack gets so big. One of the things that they said was she was an absolute ferocious hunter. And they actually have footage of her taking down a full adult male elk, which is several hundred pounds. I don't know, I think up to 700 pounds by herself. Usually it takes about 5 wolves to take down an elk, but she gets it, latches on. It was incredible watching it, to the neck, and suffocates the elk by herself. So she was a very, very skilled hunter. Some of the other qualities I wrote down: she was very compassionate for the rest of her. She would make a kill, and then she would let the rest of her pack eat before she would. And she was very dependable. When others were injured or struggling with fatigue and low on food, she would go out and hunt for the pack herself. So she created kind of this environment and atmosphere, like we talked about, a thriving environment, and it drew more people into the pack. Most of the pack they're related, but there were there were a few that she accepted into the pack. And I thought that's what a great analogy in life. We kind of all are lone wolves, and we kind of all have to kind of find our own path, and our own experiences, they somewhat kind of define us. Each of us has kind of dealt different experiences. Some people go through tragedies early on, like I did in my life. Some people have sibling rivalries. Some people experience divorce. Maybe one of their parents really does give them a lot of attention. Everybody kind of has to deal with certain things, and they bring those experiences with them. Well, in this instance, this wolf was dealt a very difficult hand, but she was a survivor. And that's what we want. We want survivors, and we want people that bring good qualities to the whole pack. All right? You can only survive so long as a lone wolf, and she knew that. She knew that she had to establish another pack for her survival. But the skills that she got from being on her own were invaluable. And that's kind of what cross country is. The training that you do is an individual based. You get as much out of it as you want. If you want to screw around and not run hard and stop and drink 14 cups of water while everybody else is out there running, fine, you can. You're going to be an omega. And what the omega is, and in a wolf pack, the omega is kind of an outcast. They don't take them seriously. They're the last person to eat, and they get picked on a lot by the other because they just don't carry their own weight. They're kind of a lazy kind of wolf in it. And in her pack, there were no omegas. There were no omegas. That's what was interesting about her pack as well. This is a quote that I love this quote. It says, "The wolf on the hill is never as hungry as the wolf climbing the hill." Let me say it to you again. The wolf on the hill is never as hungry as the wolf climbing the hill. Here's a picture. My printer's kind of dying, but I just grayscaled it if you want to look at it later. She's one of the most photographed animals in the world. She was. You can read about some guy shot her and killed her. Or she got off of the Yellowstone property, and she got into an environment that wasn't hers. It was outside of her territory. And she ventured out into that area, and the guy just shot her. And there was a big public outcry about it. The guy never apologized for doing it, and he said he doesn't regret it. That's what inspired this guy's book. And they've actually interviewed him. They won't release the guy's name because they're afraid of some people go do stuff to him or whatever. But this is a picture. If you see a color picture of it, it's an absolute beautiful animal, very powerful, and it's got she's got white fur, and then she's got those dark eyes. But I mean, it's just a beautiful animal. So it's a really cool story to look at. And I thought that was great because we're all kind of lone wolves, but we want to be a part of a pack that's special. And what do you bring to the pack? That's what we're here to find out. Hopefully it's something positive. Hopefully it's not something negative that makes the pack fight, because they do. They have fights, and they get after each other. Sometimes they kill each other. They have pack fights, and that's what was amazing with hers. It was just a thriving pack. You didn't have that. And if it started, she kind of squashed it. Maybe we need some wolf pack leaders that kind of set the tone for things today. Okay. All right.